Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Vibes. And I'd love to welcome here Kim Aronson, who is a nonfiction book creator, author of very many self help books, an intuitive reader, and a wisdom mentor. So, we're going to get to know him, and I think we're going to talk about AI today. So, Kim, tell us a little bit more about you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. What a nice introduction. Um, Talk about me. Well, I mean, I guess when we're pointing to AI, I got into technology pretty early on in the mid 90s when I discovered something called the internet and World Wide Web. And I was very excited about that right from the beginning. Back then I worked with kids, so I had nothing to do with technology, but I got so excited about the fact that you could publish something to the world. And so I got into web design and I lived in Copenhagen where I'm from, but I moved to the US in 97, started to do web stuff. And eventually I built my own, I created a dating site, a social network site, and I had that dating site for many years, 13 years, several of them, one in Europe and some in the US. And I just loved technology, and not that I'm not a programmer. I just loved the idea. So I hired people, and I did what I had to do. And so fast forward to 2022, I'm actually in India on a longer trip, and I am sitting and I'm writing stuff, which I'm not very good at because I'm dyslexic, and English is my second language. But there's spell check and stuff like that. And then somebody mentioned ChatGPT, and I'm like, oh, I'll check that out. And I'm like blown away by what you can do. And this was, early on. And so I got excited about it. And I have all these things I want to talk about in the world through my, I know about people's problems, and I know about psychology and spirits and intuition. And I have all these experiences after having clients and doing intuitive reading for a good 16 years. And I wanted to communicate that. So I basically started to write and ended up writing a book and writing a second book and a third book. And I just published my 40th book the other day. And I just keep going because it's fun. And AI is an amazing tool to create basically whatever you like.
Well, I know that we've been pretty much blown away by all the AI stuff that's going on right now, but do you have any idea of where this is going to take us and how much more is it going to do?
Yeah, I definitely do have an idea about that. Well, if you follow any other trajectory in that space of technology, things speeds up a lot, right? And so there's the technology capabilities, right? And then there's the way we adapt it into our lives and how we deal with it as people, right? And the internet definitely took us by storm, in a way of things changed radically. I remember and I'll get to the answer, but I remember when I started doing web stuff in Chicago, when I moved there in 97, and we were like, oh, if you have a website, you're going to be on the main street and everybody will come and buy your things, right? And that didn't happen. We had a lot of predictions that didn't work out, but we did not know how much it would change many, many businesses, right? You can't really predict things, but you can definitely know that it has a big impact. And obviously AI is much faster, right? Back then, it took like 6 months, 7, 8 months for things to really change from one industry to another. But now it's just like taking the world by storm. And I think the next big thing that's coming is already on its way is these agents, they call them, right? These programs that can do things on the computer, just tell it what you want, and it will direct you, open your browser, it will open documents, it will paste and copy, and it can go and order your flight to Chicago and find your trip and pay for it and everything. And so it's going to be automated on your computer, right? So all the tasks you're doing on the computer can be automated. That's the next step. And I predict that once that is in motion, and it's starting now, I think within the next 6, 8 months, it's going to be more mainstream. Then it's going to move out to the physical world, right? Where we have automated robots and all that stuff, but who knows? But the way we adapt to things or the way we resist things, I think would have a big impact. So, for instance, I talk to a lot of people. I tell them I'm writing, I'm using AI, and people have. Well, some people just don't like it at all, which it's okay. They don't know what to think about it. Some people are curious, but they sort of have a distance to it. And the way my personality is like, well, it's there. Let's see what we can get out of it. That's a good thing, right? So I create these self-help books, like so people can be more conscious in their lives and hopefully happier. That's my mission. And so I use the technology for something good, like I did back in the days when I created dating sites, right? I mean, hundreds, if not thousands of people have found each other because I created something with the software, right? And so I think if we use the technology that exists and create something good in the world, how can it be bad,
Well, have you seen that movie I, Robot with Will Smith?
Yeah.
Do you
Yes.
do you think that we're going to see that in our lifetime?
I mean, I would just say I obviously no expert. I know as much as everybody else, but we have cars that drives around without drivers in San Francisco now, right? So yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be like that, but we're definitely going to see way more automation within the next 10 to 20 years for sure. I'm not personally so worried about it. I'm not that I trust everything, but I think as a species, we have the capability of winning. The way our consciousness work, I think we will have resistance and we will take care of things. So yeah, I think there will be much more automation, but I also think that we as people will step up to that challenge, basically.
But do you think that's going to make us lazier?
See, I actually get that a lot. No, that's not how. If you want to be lazy, you can already be lazy. I mean, lots of people who want to be lazy, they are already lazy. It doesn't mean they don't need any technology to help them doing that. I think what it really does is makes us more creative. I would say so. Okay, so I published my 40th book, which sounds insane, and it is sort of is, but I've had fun with it, and it's useful books, and people like them. So that's really good. So what have I learned from this? I have produced more, right? That's good, I guess. It doesn't necessarily be a good thing, but it is a good thing. And I've learned so much. So I have learned from all the books that I've created, just both the technology and insights that I didn't think about because I was chatting with ChatGPT or some other AI tool, and they kind of give you feedback when you do research. So I think if you really go into any technology, you will learn a whole lot and you will actually become a better person. So no, I'm not worried about being lazy. I don't think that's what it is. Laziness exists no matter what technology you use or not.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's get into your self-help books. Now, is this life coaching type books?
Yeah, yeah, it sort of is. It's like well, that's the three different series of books I have. One of them is the first series I did, which is 20 books. That's all about how you can be more conscious about your own life, whatever doing things you're doing in life. So, for instance, one of the more funny or interesting books I have is about how can you become more conscious about your own life while you are sitting in traffic, because a lot of us sit in traffic. And so it has some exercises and stuff like that. It's just so, when you stop at the red light and what can you do and think about, and is there anything you can do in the car? So it's sort of like that. It's just every practical things you can imagine you can doing in all kinds of situations in life. And then there's another series that is actually for women, and that's just all about one of my target audience are women between 30 and 60, and a specific type of women who are very capable, but they need a little more trust in themselves in some way. So these 10 books are really all about that. And then the last series I am still working on, I have 10 books in it now. It's all about turning things upside down. Like for instance, the title could be like why laziness is a good thing, or why loneliness, you should embrace loneliness, and what you can get out of these things. So normally we think we have a problem in our lives. Maybe we're lonely, or maybe we're single, and we feel that's problematic. And I'm taking these things that we think is a problem and turn it into a value for yourself. So that's the last series I've been working on now.
Well, you've
Does
got
that
me.
make sense?
It does. But you got me
Okay.
curious. Now,
Yeah.
how can you look at loneliness as a positive thing?
Well, I mean, it's an opportunity, right? To what? To get to know yourself because you're with yourself a whole
That's
lot, right? I
yeah,
mean, you can
true.
definitely watch Netflix, which, I do too. Or you can eat ice cream, or I don't know, do something that is just an entertainment for yourself. But you can also get to know yourself, right? Like, okay, so what do I think about myself? How can I improve my life in the situation I'm in? Right? Instead of resisting your life in general, you can embrace it like, okay, so I am lonely. What can I use that time for? And I think always, if you can work on yourself, you can be more, if you can get to know yourself more, I see what you have there. You have pictures of people up in the back, and you have some actually LPs back there, which is wonderful and really interesting. And so that says to me, that says something about you, right? And what does it say for yourself about yourself? What are your value system, right? Obviously, you love music and you love the real good crispy sound of music, and so all these things. And so I have exercises where you can kind of get to know yourself a little more. And why is that a good thing? It's a good thing because once you step outside and meet other people, self-awareness is going to help you connect with other people. You're going to be much more genuine. You're going to be much more yourself. And that energy, people feel that. Instead of sitting feeling sorry for yourself and feeling you're not a good person, you step up, you learn, you get to know yourself, you feel better about yourself, and you actually connect easier with people. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes, yes. Well, I
Good,
have to
good.
say, when I got divorced, and I was looking for any relationship just
Yeah,
so I wouldn't be alone. But when I
yeah,
finally was single and by myself,
yeah,
and I'd work, come home, and then I'd
yeah.
just spend this time alone. And you're right. When I was married, I totally forgot who I was. And
Yeah.
then finally, after all the time I spent alone, it's like, well, this is what I like. This is who I am. These are my values. And then if I'm going to find somebody, I want someone who's like a reflection of that. Not
Yeah.
necessarily a carbon copy, but
Yeah.
someone that's close to the same as
Yeah,
I
that
am.
match your value system.
Right,
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. And if you don't, that's a really good point. If you don't know your own value system, how can you know what you're looking for, right?
right, right.
I just would say, afterwards, if there's any of my books on my website that you want, I can send you the ebook for sure.
Oh, thank you.
If you're curious, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, I agree. I actually got divorced 2 years ago, and I know what you're sitting with. I know how that feels, and so the point is just that in whatever situation we're in, we can definitely feel compassion for ourselves, but feeling sorry for ourselves doesn't do anything, right? What does something is working with what you have, right? And that's what my book is, just a little kick, to get your kick started in whatever situation you're in, right? So that's the whole point. Yeah.
Yeah. When I did get remarried, I found someone who was like my perfect mate.
Oh, that's
She
so
doesn't
nice.
agree with every single thing that I
Right.
that I
That would not
believe.
be a perfect mate anyway.
But I think that also helps you to grow as a person when
Yeah.
you have someone who has an opposite view on something, and then you also
Yes.
learn to compromise on certain things, and that makes you a better person.
Totally. Again, that's when you work on the differences and you can learn from her and she can learn from you. And that's also a growth point right there. And I have several books about being single or getting divorced or getting into a new relationship and stuff like that. There's always things we can learn, right, in our
Wow.
lives.
Are you working on anything right now?
Yes, I'm working on a new series. I'm considering something like consciousness. What is consciousness and what does that mean? Because all my work, both with my clients in my writing, is really about. It's really about let us be a little more conscious about who we are, just to be self-aware, and that way we know ourselves better, and then we are better communicator. and other people. So that's a series I'm considering, but I haven't started it yet. And then I would say I'm also a new thing that I'm going to launch here within a month is I'm going to do consulting for people who want to write like me, who want to use AI to just write marketing material or books or blogs and stuff like that, because it's helped me so much. So, and it is kind of it's an interesting world to stick your head into if you don't know anything about technology, because there's so many tools out there, and there's so many people that says, oh, write a book with one click, and don't do that. It's just not going to be good, right? So it's like, I'm launching a little consulting business where I want to help people, move forward with their writing. So that's my new thing.
Do you have a particular program that you use solely?
Yeah, so I can tell you, I've been through several of them, and it changes because AI changes. But actually, right now I am using GPT, and they have a function. I think if you just pay the $20, it's called Canvas, and if you use GPT and Canvas on their website, you can inline editing, and you can suggest things to things you already have been written, and it's perfect for any writing you do. So yeah, ChatGPT. Canvas, if you pay the $20, that's a really good tool. So I recommend that for now. Yeah.
Well, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they do so?
Yeah. So my book page is wisdommanuals.com, and for my intuitive stuff, it's my name, kimaronson.com. Yeah, and people are welcome to reach out any questions. And also, I actually have a book that I give away for free, audiobook and ebook on my website. And it's about online dating, and it's free until Valentine's Day.
Oh, wow. Well, what I'll do is I'll put your links in the description to make it easier for folks to find you. And I'm assuming you're on social media?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put those links up as well.
Thank
But
you. Thank you.
of course, Kim, thank you so much for coming on today, and I will be getting with you about that book.
Oh, yeah. And if any book on my website, I'll send them to you for free for sure. Really
Okay,
nice. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Again, thank you. And I also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button for my regulars. You guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. Until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network